When I saw countless gardeners on social media claiming they could create finished compost in just 72 hours, my first thought was that it had to be too good to be true. After spending years waiting months for my traditional compost pile to decompose, the idea of 3-day compost seemed like pure fantasy. But curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to put this viral hack to the ultimate test. What I discovered over those 3 intense days completely changed my perspective on composting and taught me some valuable lessons I wish I'd known before starting. Day 1 started with careful preparation and high expectations. I gathered kitchen scraps I'd been saving for weeks, including vegetable peels, coffee grounds, and eggshells, then mixed them with finely shredded dried leaves and paper. Following the viral method precisely, I layered everything in a large insulated container with generous amounts of compost activator between each layer. The mixture felt like a damp sponge when I squeezed it, which seemed perfect according to the instructions. Within 8 hours, something remarkable happened. My compost pile began generating serious heat, reaching temperatures that made the container warm to the touch. By the end of day 1, I could see steam rising when I lifted the lid, and the internal temperature had climbed to 135 degrees Fahrenheit. The materials were already starting to break down visibly, with softer items like banana peels beginning to lose their structure. Day 2 brought both excitement and challenges. The pile reached peak temperatures of 158 degrees, creating an almost volcanic environment inside my container. Turning the mixture every 8 hours became a workout, as the decomposing materials had become surprisingly heavy and dense. However, I noticed the volume had decreased by nearly 40%, and the developing earthy smell indicated healthy microbial activity. The real test came on day 3 when temperatures began stabilizing, and the final transformation occurred. The mixture looked dramatically different from my starting materials, resembling actual compost more with each turning session. By hour 72, I had created something that looked and smelled like mature compost, though it wasn't quite the same as my traditional 6-month batches. The viral method does create usable compost in 72 hours, but the results come with important caveats that most social media posts don't mention. The finished product is definitely compost, but it's more accurately described as partially decomposed organic matter that's biologically active rather than fully mature compost. What actually happens is that the intense heat and microbial activity break down the easily digestible components rapidly, creating a nutrient-rich mixture that plants can utilize immediately. However, woody materials, tough stems, and fibrous elements remain largely intact, requiring additional time to fully decompose. This isn't necessarily a problem as these materials continue breaking down slowly after application to your garden. The method works best with carefully selected materials that decompose quickly. Soft kitchen scraps, fresh grass clippings, and finely shredded leaves produce excellent results, while tougher materials like thick stems, branches, or whole fruit require much longer to break down completely. Success depends heavily on proper material preparation and maintaining optimal conditions throughout the process. Temperature management proved to be the most crucial element for achieving good results. Without sufficient heat generation, the process simply becomes regular slow composting. I learned that pile size matters enormously, as smaller batches struggle to generate and maintain the necessary temperatures for rapid decomposition. Moisture control required constant attention throughout the 3 days. Too much water created soggy, anaerobic conditions that produced unpleasant odors and slowed decomposition. Too little moisture prevented microbial activity from reaching peak efficiency. Finding the sweet spot required checking and adjusting moisture levels during each turning session. The turning schedule cannot be ignored or delayed. Missing even one turning session allowed hotspots to develop while other areas remained cool, creating uneven decomposition. The physical work involved is substantial, as you're essentially turning a heavy, steaming pile of organic matter every 8 hours for 3 straight days. After completing the full 72-hour process, I can confirm that this viral method does produce usable compost quickly, but it's not the miracle solution that social media makes it appear to be. The results work well as a soil amendment and provide immediate benefits to plants, but don't expect the same quality as traditional aged compost. This method works best for gardeners who need compost quickly and don't mind the intensive labor involved. It's excellent for processing kitchen scraps rapidly and creates a valuable soil amendment that's superior to leaving organic matter unprocessed. However, it requires significant time commitment and produces smaller quantities than suggested in many viral videos. For best results, I recommend treating this as a rapid soil amendment technique rather than a complete replacement for traditional composting. Use it when you need quick results, but maintain a regular compost system for your primary organic matter processing needs. Ready to try this method yourself or learn more game-changing gardening techniques? Subscribe to Dirt Decoded for honest, tested gardening advice that cuts through the hype, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who want to know what really works.